Okay, today I'm at Barry's Blues Barn in deepest, darkest Essex with Jack, Felipe and Laz, and we're going to talk about the new album, Who Feeds the Wolf. Welcome, guys.
Alright, man, nice to see you.
Now, you guys are here to shoot a new video for Haunted Bones, is it?
No, we're doing a video for Kiss Your Ass Goodbye.
Which is one of the tracks on the new album.
It is, yeah.
Now, the album kicks off with Justified. Can you just tell us a bit about the process behind that one?
Justified was probably the first song that I wrote for the record, which is about 18 months ago. And it actually was probably the most difficult song to write, in that I wrote the verse and I thought it had this really kind of cool, kind of Blackstone Cherry vibe, a bit of sort of Guns N' Roses vibe on the bridge bit, but I didn't really have a chorus. And then we actually recorded that song, completely finished it, and then I wrote a better chorus. So it cost me quite a lot of money to scrap that original recording. But I think it's turned out really cool, and it's really good to play live. It's got a really good vibe to it. Because
you've had it for so long, was that always going to be the first single off the album?
I just think it's got a brilliant opening riff, great opening verse, and it sort of sets the scene for the rest of the record. So yeah.
Because the chorus lifts as well, doesn't it? It totally changes the whole.
Yeah, there's like 5 key changes in the song, which is a bit. We were listening to it actually on the way over this morning. I was like, how the fuck did I write this song? But anyway, I think it's pretty good.
So that's obviously followed by the single, which is out next Friday.
Yeah, we've got.
Well, this 12th or whatever.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Haunted Bones.
Yeah, Haunted Bones is out this week, and that was. I don't know, that was a song that came together pretty quickly. I've always wanted to record an album that had the sort of heavier influences that I listen to a lot outside of what I'm generally known for, which is kind of blues music, really. And Haunted Bones, that riff, I wrote that a little while ago, and then, I don't know, it just came together with the verses and chorus. And again, it's got this really massive chorus that when you play that live, it's one of these things that really hits you. So we've only done it once live, and it was like, fucking hell, it sounds great.
It's a powerhouse of a track, it must admit, yeah. And like you say, it's away from your norm, or what people would associate you with. But again, it maintains that cool bluesy vibe when you go into the chorus and that, so it works.
Well, I think that's what sort of Jack's voice is so kind of unique and special, in the sense that it does have that bluesy rock and roll Americana vibe. So when you mix his voice, which is like I just said, the rock and roll, the blues stuff, with what is essentially Metallica and Black Sabbath music, you get this amazing blend, which is what I feel like this album pretty much represents. Justified, Haunted Bones, these are all metal tracks with a blues vocalist on it, and it works.
Exactly, you could be on stage supporting Metallica.
Yeah, I hope so.
It sounds to me that all the influences you can actually notice in Paint No Fiction are still there, but now we have some extra stuff. It's not like, Jack's going to do another Paint No Fiction. That's what I like about his music as well. He's always trying new things without being, how can I put it, like artificial. I'm going to try this just a bit different.
Still sticking to what he does best.
Exactly.
And I think it also, with you two guys' influence with this album as well, it's probably helped to bring a whole new concept for you guys.
Well, I think Laz is, you've been in metal bands previously, and I think, we've shared a lot of music over the last 12 months on the road, listening to things in the van, and I think, that has definitely influenced the songwriting. And it's great, because when we play these tunes live, already, we've done Justified at quite a few gigs now, and it's great because it means that Laz can do his devil horns and rock out.
Which he does.
Whenever I can, yeah.
Alright, so today you're obviously Barry's Blues Barn, and you're shooting a video for Kiss Your Ass Goodbye.
Yeah.
Not
Kiss Your Ass Goodbye is the posh version, that's the remix.
Well, that's the next track on the album, I believe, track 3?
It's track 3, yeah.
Talk about that.
So Kiss Your Ass Goodbye, or if you are feeling posh, Will, Kiss Your Ass Goodbye. I don't know, I like southern rock, and I like that kind of music where you imagine yourself driving along a big highway into the desert, and this is a sort of song where, it takes me into a sort of Sergio Leone film, and it's kind of, I'm in The Good, the Bad and the Ugly with this track when I'm singing it, and I think it's got a really good verse. I think the chorus is massive, and it's got one of those, the end to the chorus is one of those tunes where the audience can sing it back at you.
I think it also, if you just saw the title, you wouldn't expect to hear what you hear when you actually hear that track. It's totally different to what the title suggests.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's more of your more country Black Crowsy sort of 67 Mustang, whatever, driving down the highway with your arm out the window. So that's a phenomenal track.
I mean, it sounds to me like it should be in Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
But we sort of binge watched Sons of Anarchy on tour, so that's probably where it's come from.
They'll probably have to be Mines
And the
now.
jacket.
Mines, yeah.
Okay, next track, I Will Follow You.
Yeah, that's the most personal track on the record, and I always try and write quite personal lyrics, and even on Justified and Haunted Bones, there's some quite intimate stuff on that maybe doesn't come across like that because of the sound of the song. But with I Will Follow You, that song deals with a lot of stuff that's been going on in my personal life over the last 18 months, and you know, I've used music as a way of getting a lot of emotion out and trying to deal with some quite tough stuff. And so when we got back from Spain last year, which was our first tour together, like 3 days after we got back from Spain, we had a doctor's appointment with my dad, and he got diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And so the last 18 months has been kind of crazy, dealing with a lot of family stuff that I'd never really had to deal with before, whilst also touring my last album, writing and recording a new album. And so that song, which was the last song written for this record, just feels like it sums up that period of time.
And it's somewhere you can give a release to put down how you've been feeling as well. So you've got that, and not being funny, but heartache and family issues and personal issues always make for good songs at the end of the day, because you're honest in your writing.
The emotions raw, it's true.
Yeah, it comes across, and it comes across that way as well.
And I think everyone can relate to that somehow, you know.
One way or another, yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
It's what people take from the lyrics. So whilst Jack's singing about following his father, people can look at other figures. I follow my sister, I follow my mother. You know, everyone has a different personal, unique take on it, and that's what
makes it
nice
hit.
and cheesy. But that's what music's so great. You know, everyone can take different things.
I think we talked about this whilst on tour, and I think it's one of the things that makes a band be a band, which is, well, we're mates. I mean, we talk about our personal lives, and we talk about music, and we talk about movies we like, and I think that reflects on the performance when you're on stage. People see that you are somehow connected. It's not like it's not a job.
Because when one hurts, everybody hurts.
Yeah, exactly. So we all try to support each other and talk about these kind of things. And if you're on tour and you with people that you actually don't know, that means you can't share that kind of stuff. And I think the way we play the song has to do with the story behind the song, because we know it as well, and it has to do with our own personal lives. And I think we talk about this, like the album's so diverse in terms of heavy songs, ballads, and I think I said that to Laz or Jack. Good things and bad things that happen, you know, in life at the same time. You don't get to choose. I'm going to live it at like the best moment of my life, and nothing's going to go wrong. And I think Jack's been through a great moment in his career and a tough moment, personal. But we just have to get on with that. And he's doing really well in terms of like pushing for his music to get out there. And I think it should be a relief to him, I guess. And sure, it's just fantastic to be a part of this.
I mean, it'd be worse if I'd been through quite a tough time in my personal life and was writing shit tunes. At least it's come out in a really good song.
At least we get to play good music. Yeah. Thank you.
And it's good to have support as well from these two
we're all there
clowns.
for each other. It's really nice. You know, things happen. I mean, yeah, you know, Jack's dad, my grandfather passed away a few months ago. Felipe, everyone has their troubles, and it's just nice that
He's
we
giving
can.
up Guinness.
Yeah, well, that's the toughest moment in Felipe's life, having to give up Guinness. But now everyone goes through stuff, and it's just nice not to be colleagues and to be friends.
Oh,
it makes it,
it's nice most of the time.
So the next track, Lucky Man, is that reflective of the previous track, or was that just the way it was on the album?
Yeah, there's definitely a decision made in terms of the track listing. Also, you know, that song is quite, you know, the previous song is quite reflective and melancholic. You need a really badass song to follow that, to kind of wake people up and be like, okay, it's not all fucking shit.
Wipe the tears, let's go.
So Lucky Man, which we've been opening our sets with on the tour, I just fucking love that song. I think it's got a really good riff, a sort of Rival Sons riff. The verse sounds like Aerosmith, and then the chorus sounds like Oasis. So I think it's quite a good combination.
So no influences then,
As long as they don't all start suing me.
So, Peace of Mind next.
Yes.
Talk about that. How did that one come about?
That song, bizarrely, considering it's quite a complex tune, took about 30 minutes to write. Some of the songs on the record took fucking ages, but that song just came out. And it's meant to sound a bit like Free, with a bit of a kind of Black Crowsy bit in the middle. And I think it's a really cool tune. It goes down really well live, but it's almost like telling a joke, because it ends about 3 or 4 times, and then people think, oh, well, we'll clap now, and then there's the next bit. And it's Southern Rock's answer to Bohemian Rhapsody.
I don't think anything else needs to be said about that track. That's going to sum up better than anybody can do in the press. Perfect. Next one, track 7, Roll Another One. I mean, I've got my views on what this is about. Tell us.
Well, it's funny because I just found some Black Crowes rolling papers, but I'm not going to say any more about past indulgences. But it's kind of that was written as that was going to be the album opener, but then I wrote better songs than that. So
it's one of the first ones we did, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was one of those songs that I kind of forgot was on the record. And we were listening to it this morning, and I just think it sounds really badass. It's got a really big riff. It's got that kind of Chris Robinson vocal on it. And then there's a bit in the middle that sort of goes into a sort of Jeff Buckley, Grace era divulgence. And I think it's a really cool tune. And it's basically about getting smashed and forgetting all your troubles.
But again, it's another one you'd put on in the car just driving down the highway.
It's a great driving song.
Yeah,
it is.
Right, so, talking about driving, Let It Ride is the next one. Obviously not about driving, but...
My favourite of the album.
Cool.
Yeah.
Why is it your favourite, Laz?
Says the guy with the Iron Maiden.
I know. I meant to like all the heavy songs.
Peace of Mind would be better.
No, it's great. I mean, I've spent about a year ago. I discovered the Beatles, as in I listened to everything they did and cemented their position as the best band ever because of what they did. And
Who were the Beatles? I've never heard of them.
Was it Keith? Is that them? Keith and Pete? No?
Keith and Pete?
Yeah.
There we go.
This is just really Beatles-esque, Rolling Stones-esque, and compared to the heaviness of Justified and Roll Another One and Haunted Bones, it's nice, I think, from a fan's point of view to see, well, Jack has more to offer. Like, lots more. Like, here's another diverse song, and then track 10 as well is another one. But yeah, just more diversity in songwriting, and it's a sing-along one. It's accessible. It's it's get radio time. It's a great song. You can sing along to it. It's enjoyable, I think.
User friendly.
Yeah. It's the best way to put it.
It's one of my favorites as well because I think it connects to people in a very direct way. So it's like it's talking to people. Like I love the verse. You say you have no money, but that's me too.
Are those the lyrics? Can you write them down?
Feel the paper plate on the floor ready.
So it's like you have your troubles, I have them as well. So just let's just enjoy life and
it is like a conversation with people.
Yeah.
I mean, the original lyrics were, "I ain't got no money, so please buy my album," but it just sounded a bit desperate. So
that would have been a good title for you.
Yeah.
You should change it. Still time to change it.
I mean, Autumn Leaves, track 9. I love this track. I love it all, but this track in particular screams huge stage. And I picture like a string section behind and everything during this track. It's just so good.
I'm going to start here, Will, because I gave Felipe and Jack a 15-minute talk yesterday in the car about why this is the best song on the album. It's stunning. It's amazing, and I didn't hear the early stages of it, so I've actually heard this for the first time 3 days ago, fully done, and I was blown away. Just honestly, like, it has everything. It's got the George Harrison style because he does a few key changes in it, and it's the same as the other ones. The Beatles stuff. It's George Harrison. You got the Stones. It's I said when he starts the verse, he sounds like Zakk Wylde in Black Label Society. The song In This River. It just exactly like it, and the build of the song and the development and the strings, the keyboard solo that comes out of nowhere. It's phenomenal.
But interestingly, it's still a 12-bar. It's not really, no.
I was going to say. I haven't done my homework.
What's a 12-bar?
But yeah, no, it's like my favourite of the album, and it's so relatable and so personal and uplifting.
It's a huge song. It's a huge song that should be played on huge stages
everywhere,
to a lot of people. Yeah, personally, that's what I believe. But obviously, what's your take on it? Because when you sent it and I listened to it for the first time, I think I messaged you back, said, I love that I can just picture the strings behind you.
It's special, isn't it?
Who's
It really
playing?
is,
Because
yeah.
There's a violin.
So
isn't
there's
there?
the two additional musicians that are on this record. Alberto Manuzzi, who plays keys on a lot of it, but there's a geezer called Stuart Moore who played on the previous album, Paint No Fiction. And the thing with Stuart is he's like a classically trained musician who understands what the fuck I've written. I mean, I just write things that sound good, you know. I follow the sort of John Lennon approach to writing songs. I have no idea what I've done, but it sounds cool. And so when we came into the studio to do that song, he just nailed it, and putting those violin elements on just lifts the song into a different dimension.
It's subtle but works so well. Especially like I said, you're not expecting it.
I think
Things just kind of nowhere.
any other guitarist who is a songwriter would put a guitar solo in that song. That's another.
There was a guitar solo, but Tony, the producer, took it out.
The whole album was
all
solo, wasn't it?
tapping, keys only. Yeah.
So yeah, I decided to have a keyboard solo instead, and it's kind of unpredictable, and it makes the song sound even more unique. And it's one of the songs that I've listened seriously like 20 times on the same day. When he sent me the songs, it's so beautiful. I really wanted to keep going, listening and listening.
You won't be doing that when we go on tour with a player every night.
I hope I get bored of that.
But I mean, the way you two have just spoke about this track, it's almost like when you hear it for the first time, like you did 3 days ago, it's almost like, is this me on this track? You know, it's almost like you listen to somebody else's track for the first time and you think, wow.
How long ago did I record drums for that one? I don't know.
It was 1980.
I think it was 1978.
I think the way
Yeah.
you hear me and Felipe talk, I just want to kind of clarify something. When we talk about this like this, I think it looks as if we're saying, oh, all hail Jack, he's amazing, which he is, but it's nicer for
Thanks,
us
man.
to be, I mean, you are a god. You are a god amongst
Is
men.
it not?
No, it's the sum of all parts. that
It's
make
nice
it
that
what it
we're not
is.
here. We're not here as his employees playing for him, saying yes, you're doing a good job, boss. It's a pleasure to play this music. It really is, because of how it. Goosebumps. First time I listened to Autumn Leaves, and I get to play that soon.
Jack, you
It's
new band, mate. They're
special.
kind of rebelling.
Yeah, I know. No, I've had enough of that. I've had enough of rebelling bands.
Do you know what I mean though? It's very nice.
Oh,
It's a pleasure to be able to play this music, and all I've got to do is learn it. I don't have to write it. I don't have to do any songwriting. I just let this guy do it, and I play what he puts
Easiest
on the
job
record.
on earth, tell you that.
Right, so penultimate track, Winds of Change.
So that tune, I wrote the intro guitar riff for my band Boom Boom Brotherhood, and we played that at a lot of the gigs on the last year that we were together. And I remember playing it at Ramblin' Man when I played the blues stage at Ramblin' Man, and we came on and played that riff, but I didn't have the rest of the song. It was just this kick-ass riff, and then people afterwards saying that was really badass, you should write a proper song with that. So I did, and it's got that AC/DC vibe. I really like it. I think it's a really cool tune. It's got some great backing vocals on it that these guys will you know, it'd be great to do that live. But it's one of those weird songs where it's sort of evolved over time. So some of the other stuff was really quick to write, whereas you know, that riff is 3 years old. But it's essentially about, you know, drinking, having a good time, and meeting somebody that you fall in love with, that kind of thing.
Ah, he's talking about you again, Laz.
Honestly.
What can you say? Last track on the album, Sleep Awake Obey.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a rocker.
Bit of a monster, isn't it?
Yeah.
He sent us the demo, and we were there like, sorry, what? Like, is this thing
Where Jack decided to
Hutchinson?
unleash the beast.
I think, as I said earlier on, like most of my influences, I listen to blues. I love blues music. I love Muddy Waters, I love Charlie Patton, B.B. King, all that stuff. But I listen to a lot of heavy material as well. You know, when I was a lot younger, I used to play in a band that used to cover Pantera, but that's not really what I've delivered on records. So that track mixes a sort of rocky vibe that, you know, I'm pretty well known for, the southern rock stuff, but then ends with a kind of Metallica battery type riff, and we did that live last night actually for the first time.
I think
and
people were a bit shocked.
yeah, it's quite funny. So really fun. I was like, fuck!
That's the point.
But you know, I think it's great. It's so much fun to play, and it's one of those songs where you play it and all this fucking energy comes out. And
You feel the heaviness flow through you on stage.
yeah.
And I think its place on the album works really well as well, as being the last track, because you sort of get into the end, you think, right, one more track to go, and then I can relax, and then
Well, the thing is, if you put it last as well, if it blows up your speakers, then you've already heard the album. So
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
So you haven't missed out.
Journey
Exactly.
complete, yeah.
Well, guys, it's been absolutely fun talking about this new album. When's it due for release?
It's out on the 18th of October, and the album launch gig is 22nd of October at the Black Heart in Camden.
But people can pre-order the album now and all the various bundles and bits that go with it.
Yeah, so it's coming out on vinyl, which is a really exciting thing for me. I've never had a record on
I've
vinyl.
ordered mine.
And the artwork's done by a geezer called Aaron Gardner from a band Stone Thieves, who's a brilliant musician. He looks really cool as well, doesn't he?
And he was here last night, wasn't he, to the early hours?
He's got a really cool haircut and good
It's like,
good choice of shoes as well. But he does really good artwork, and so to see that on vinyl is going to be quite an amazing experience.
It's very special.
And so will you be doing a headline tour of the new album next year? I
In
guess?
March.
Yeah.
So we're just finishing off putting that together. We're about 90% there, I think, but we're going to be doing some dates in Wales and Scotland. So I've never really gigged there before, and people have asked me to play up in Scotland in particular for a long time. So yeah, really excited about that.
Well, if the album's anything to go by, they're going to be in for a treat. There's so many tracks on there you could put on the radio, in my personal opinion. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
you
listened
like
to it all, I love it.
Fantastic. It's
But-
great, isn't
and
it?
I'm not being biased, it truly is fantastic.
Well, again, like I said, it's a pleasure for us to listen
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
It was just as special for me, you know.
I think collectively you've come together and created something very special here, and it deserves to be where I believe it should be, which is way up there, because it is that good, lyrically, vocally, and you know, musically.
I think with this album, I've definitely thrown everything at it, and it's one of those albums where if I don't make another album now and just sort of mosey off into the sunset, then I'll be fucking happy with what I've done.